everyone. I'm Jess, and I'm the content manager here at Course Report. Course Report is the resource for helping people find the right coding boot camps for them. You can use our website to research the best coding boot camps all over the world, as well as insights on which coding languages to learn, where to apply, and how to break down all of that boot camp jargon and so much more. Today, I'm speaking with 3 alumni from a boot camp called DigitalCrafts, which is based in Atlanta, Houston, Seattle, Tampa, and of course, online. One of the trademarks of a coding boot camp is that students usually build a capstone project. And so these 3 alumni, Carrie, Frida, and Priyanka, are going to walk us through their capstone project. But first, let me introduce them. Carrie Grossman was working in social media management before enrolling at DigitalCrafts. Frida Garcia, who graduated from Georgia State University with a linguistics degree before pivoting into tech via DigitalCrafts. And then Priyanka Farrell, who is a former math teacher turned developer after graduating from DigitalCrafts this fall. So Carrie, Frida, and Priyanka, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. The 3 of you just graduated from DigitalCrafts Web Development Bootcamp, which means you 3 were very recently working on a really cool capstone project together. So let's have you share your screen with me so we can walk through the project that you built.
Yeah, so this is our website, Brucy, and this is the login page. So you can go in and register here.
Okay.
You can either register as a user or a coffee shop. So depending on what side of the interaction you're going to be on, you register on 2 different register pages. This one actually requires a verification code because we just don't want anyone to be a coffee shop. But I kind of will show you more about that in a second. So right now I'm going to log in as a user. I'm going to log in as Carrie. And so the first thing you'll see is you'll see all of Carrie's all the shops in Carrie's area. So these are all the shops. It shows their name, their address, and a link to their homepage. And you can actually search these. So say I want to only look at shops in 30324, it will show me shops only in 30324.
Cool.
So that's really cool for the user. They have the ability to search. And then they also have the ability to go to these home pages and look at you know, what the shop looks like. So we have reviews, one mug being not so great, 5 mugs being the best. We can see how many visits. So these are all the visits on our platform. So it's actually pulling all that data. You can upload a photo. And all the photos will show in real time right here.
Cool.
And then you can also see owners from the updates from the owner. So these are something that the owner can leave on their side, which I'll show in a minute. And then the last thing is you can leave a review. So I'll leave a 5-star review, and we're saying having a great time with Jess. And then submit, and it will show up right here.
Oh, awesome.
So it's all in real time. So the goal of this was kind of to have a Yelp for coffee shops. And then the other cool thing, and I know all of us talked about this, is that oftentimes we lose those little punch cards.
Yeah.
Or maybe even lose the name of a coffee shop that we visited. So you can see all of the places that you've visited, how many times you visited it. So Carrie is a big Cup of Joe fan. And then you also have rewards. And so right now it's set that every 10 visits that you get a reward. And you can just present this at the coffee shop and use your reward. And they have access to that at the back end. So we just used your reward. And then Carrie, is it capital J or the? Yeah. So we're going to go to Joe now, Joe is an owner. So he registered as an owner. And you can see Joe only just has his one store. What he can do from his store, his page looks very similar to Carrie's. The home page, he sees the number of visits, all the reviews. He cannot add reviews and he can't add photos. We really want this to be user-centric. So the only thing that Joe can add is updates. Maybe we're closed for the holiday. and submit. And it'll show right here chronologically where it's supposed to go. So it's a cool feature where users and owners can kind of see what's going on. The other feature that the owner page has is they can go to their My Coffee shops. They can register shops. So we decided to have an owner. So say you own a chain of maybe Cup of Joe stores, you can register all of them and manage them all. And then you can go to the stamp button right here. And you can enter in the user. And it'll show the user. And it'll show how many times they've visited, and you can stamp them. So now Carrie has 73 stamps. So it allows for a quick lookup and allows both the user and owner to keep track. That's pretty much it. We have an about page if you want to read a little bit about us and try our favorite drinks, just let me know.
That's super awesome. And Carrie, since your cohort was remote, what strategies did you use to successfully build this project, especially under such a time constraint?
So we used things like Trello, Slack, and Google Docs to all communicate to each other, where we can just see, all of our ideas in one platform. And then really Zoom was very helpful because we were able to meet with video chat without being in the same place. So no matter where we were able to meet. And then we were also able, like what Priyanka's doing, share our screen. So if we had any questions or any bugs, we were able to code together. And I thought that was really helpful as well.
That's awesome. And Frida, what technologies or programming languages did you end up using to build this project?
We used React.js, JavaScript, and some HTML and CSS. We also managed to integrate Bulma and CSS to make it responsive. So that's one of our key points that we really wanted to hammer in is responsiveness. We wanted this to be a mobile app, and we managed to do it. We used everything we learned. We really just wanted to make a quality product using our full stack to kind of demonstrate our skills.
Were there any other languages that you just decided not to use for this project that DigitalCrafts taught you?
We learned Python, and we could have used it, but honestly, React just works very well with JavaScript, and it would be learning a lot of other things to be able to make it work with Python. It just wasn't convenient for us.
And Priyanka, looking back on this, what do you think your team's biggest challenge was while you were building this project?
So I think our team, for the most part, worked really well together. We had a really fun time. We were very diligent about uploading to GitHub regularly, communicating. Some of the challenges, though, that we had were we had sometimes some technical issues, infinite loops we had to debug. We use pair programming often to kind of work through some of those issues. The other kind of challenge, which ended up being one of the coolest features of our project, is that all the photos that you saw on the home pages, they're actually stored as base 64 strings. So really, really, really long strings in the database, like this long. So figuring out how to store those and making sure our database has the infrastructure to store those was definitely a challenge, but ended up being very rewarding.
And Carrie, along those lines, when you ran into an issue with this project, did the DigitalCrafts instructors jump in to help you? Or like what kinds of support were you still getting in order to finish this?
So of course we were encouraged to, try to do it on our own as a group. But of course, if we came into something that we couldn't solve or anything, they were very helpful. So they wouldn't just not help us. It was a really big support. It was awesome.
And Frida, I'd love to know if your group ended up like showcasing this project, Brucy, in a demo day at DigitalCrafts.
Yeah, so we were the last group to go. It was sort of nerve-wracking. We were kind of building up to it, but since we had pre-recorded our presentation, it wasn't as bad as we kind of had expected it to be. And also everything being remote kind of eased our nerves. You're not physically in front of the people, so it's a little bit more calm and it just feels better.
Yeah. And when you were doing the virtual demo day, was that like an experience where potential employers were invited, or was it just your cohort?
No, yes, it was definitely a lot of people, potential employers, family members. Everyone was invited. And I remember that there was at least 70 plus people in that Zoom call.
Wow. And just an open question for you all. Since you built this project together remotely, I'm just curious, do you think building this project remotely helped you become better remote employees?
I can answer that. I
Okay.
definitely think so because I have never used Zoom. I've never used Slack. I've never used Trello. I never used any of this. So it was really helpful. Learned, a lot of wonderful tools while working remotely. And you had to learn to be more diligent with communication, to push up to GitHub regularly, and then also manage our time.
And another open question for you all, are you now using this Brucy Capstone project as a talking point in any job interviews?
Yeah, so I've talked about it in a couple of interviews. I think I talk about it as a really positive experience, and one where we really were organized and really focused on having clean code, a minimal viable product, and communicating regularly. So definitely have talked about it as a positive experience. Yeah.
I would also love to know, like, what are your career goals now that you've graduated from DigitalCrafts? Like, which types of jobs are you currently applying for? Just an open question to you all.
I'm, as coming from a teaching background, am really interested in pursuing a career in the ed tech sector, especially having taught when the COVID outbreak kind of happened, I guess, in March. I really realized the importance of, technology and really having a transformative effect on education, and was definitely one of the reasons I wanted to pursue a career in software development. So as much as I can, I'm applying for those ed tech roles that I see. However, I am also just applying to as many places as I can to kind of get the experience and learn about different fields within the industry.
I favored the front end more than the back end, so I'm just looking for junior front end web development positions. And I also liked debugging a lot. I was actually really good at it. And so I'm just looking for maybe a quality assurance tester or anything like that, really. But again, I'm just kind of applying around as well.
Yes, same, just like Harry. I'm applying for a lot of junior developer jobs. I really just want to get my foot in the door.
Yeah.
And I did lean more towards the front end. So it's definitely anything front end, so I can kind of develop those skills and further my career and maybe someday get into a senior position.
Cool. Yeah, it seems really wonderful about a boot camp like DigitalCrafts because you get to experience kind of all the components and then sort of figure out like what are your superpowers, like where are your strengths. So I love hearing all of your different takes on what you'd like to do next. So Carrie, like what do you think your biggest challenge has been in this journey to getting into tech?
So to be honest, before DigitalCrafts, I've never done anything with coding, like at all. I was completely just a noob at it. I would often doubt myself a lot during it, but my instructor was really patient with me and he kept assuring me that I was doing a lot better than I thought I was, especially knowing like I'd never coded before. So he was definitely a big support, and it was definitely intense, but I learned a lot and definitely excited about learning even more out there.
And then Priyanka, do you have any advice for teachers who are just now considering making a change into software engineering?
Yeah, so I think my biggest advice, something that we talk a lot about in education and I talked a lot about in my classroom, is the idea of a growth mindset. Believing that like if you put in time and effort, you'll be able to improve. And I definitely always said that to my class, but I think I really had the opportunity of being back in a learning setting to test my own growth mindset. As Carrie said, it was a very intense 4-month period. We were learning a lot of technology and frameworks, and sometimes it could be frustrating. Your code might be the only one that's not working in the whole class, and you have no idea why. So it's definitely very easy to get frustrated with yourself. And so I think kind of keeping in mind that growth mindset that us teachers talk about all the time is definitely something very important. Also, I think coming from a teaching background, utilizing the different ways that you can break down information, whether it be visually, take notes, practice in your own learning, definitely is a key strategy in ensuring that you're able to get the most out of the boot camp and learn the most you can.
Thanks. That's such a good answer. Because I know that there are just plenty of teachers right now who are just wondering what else they can do with this skill set. So it's great to hear your own transition. So Frida, what is your advice right now for someone who's considering enrolling in an upcoming digital crafts cohort?
I certainly recommend it. Honestly, learning on your own can be really frustrating, and sometimes you Google things and you don't get any good answers. You can't really find anything. So it's nice to have someone there to walk you through the concepts and to kind of further break them down and explain them. And also, it was good to have extra help after school. We had what was it, TA time, and she was really great. She explained everything, and it was one-on-one, so it wasn't, if you were embarrassed during class, it was nice to just kind of have that one-on-one experience. But DigitalCrafts is a great choice, and they were involved in the learning process from the beginning to the end.
And that's an excellent place to wrap up this capstone project spotlight. It was so cool to see what you were actually able to build in just a few short weeks at DigitalCrafts. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Carrie, Frida, and Priyanka, and good luck in your job search. We will be posting a recording and a transcript of this video interview on the Course Report blog with contact information for DigitalCrafts in case you're interested in applying for one of their upcoming cohorts. And thanks so much to all of you for watching. Tweet at us, email us, and let us know what topic you'd like us to cover next on the Course Report blog. In the meantime, follow Course Report on Facebook and Twitter. And if you're a bootcamp alumni, don't forget to post a review of your own bootcamp experience on Course Report. Your review is a huge help to anyone who's thinking of getting into tech today.